All right. Hi, girls.
Hey.
Thank you for joining me. We are here on behalf of Onyx Therapy Group, and I am one of the educational consultants. My name is Miriam, and so what we like to do sometimes is just have little chats with our friends about certain topics that are kind of out there trending or things that are near and dear to our hearts. So before we get started, I want you all to introduce yourselves, and we can start with Lauren.
I'm Lauren. I'm all the way from New Jersey. I am a elementary teacher, a mom of teenage twins, and I'm also a business owner.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. And Brandy.
Hello, I am Brandy. I am from Richmond, Virginia. I am a wife, a mother of three, 8-year-old, 4-year-old, and a soon-to-be 1-year-old. And I am an early childhood special education teacher with Richmond City Public Schools.
All right. Nicole.
Hello, my name is Nicole. I am in Miami, Florida. I am a mother of a 12-year-old daughter, and I am a caretaker for my elderly father. He's 84 years old. So yeah, just.
All right. And I guess I didn't really tell anything about myself. So I am wife, mother of 2 girls, 5 and 3. I am a school counselor in Maryland. And like I said, I'm one of the educational consultants with Onyx. And so a little background of us, though, as a group, we all went to St. Augustine's University. And so we really became close friends, and we've been friends ever since. And so this is what, almost 20-year friendship here.
Wow.
I know, crazy,
wow.
right?
20
I know.
years.
Don't try to add. Look, don't try to add age.
Wait,
We don't look like.
Wow.
But we're going to talk about, since we're all in education, we're going to talk about how we are dealing with working from home, being a mom, how we're practicing self-care, especially dealing with the workload that the schools ask of us, but also the workload of the house. So how are we, merging the two and focusing on ourselves? So I don't know who wants to start off just talking about how it's going. Like, how are you doing?
Okay, well, I'll jump in. So I will say it has been very challenging. However, things have gotten better since COVID, the quarantine, everything began. But I'm still, struggling trying to be a teacher and be a parent. Right now, where I work, we are still fully virtual. Everyone is learning from home. We have not reopened our schools yet. The plan is to open in February, but we'll see how that goes. So I have been working from home since last school year when COVID first hit back in March. So, and when it first hit, nobody really knew what was going on. Nobody really knew how long we were going to be in this. So it was just a matter of, okay, let's just kind of get some things on the table, reach out to your parents, provide resources. Let's just kind of just give them something until we know when we're coming back. Well, here we are, October, and we still are not back. But this year, things have been different as far as our expectations. So this year, we are expected to really teach, and carry on like we have been in the past, but just do it virtually. So that meant revamping the curriculum, trying to do everything that we were accustomed to doing it virtually, which is very difficult, especially in my field. I teach special education, and then I also have very young children. So when you combine the two, you have kids with disabilities and they're very young, and those kids, we need to be hands-on and interactive, and they learn through play and touch and all that. So it's like, what? You want me to teach them on a computer? And then at the same time, I have a daughter who's 8, who's in elementary school, who is home learning. So I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But we're making the best of it. We're managing. Luckily for me, with my position, I have the ability to be flexible with my work duties. So what's helped me is I've been able to kind of structure my day around my daughter's schedule. So my daughter's in school from 8 to about 1 o'clock. So I've been scheduling all of my work meetings, all of my virtual sessions with my students pretty much in the afternoon hours when my daughter's done. And then also my youngest is napping around that time. So I've kind of, structured things around their schedule. And it's been hectic, but we're making it.
So I heard you say that the workload changed, because I was shocked too. That was like, counselors got to do what? Because I mean, yeah, I go into classrooms and teach throughout the school year when I'm in the brick and mortar, but when we went to distance learning, I wasn't in the classroom in a built-in schedule. So this year when I got a built-in schedule, I'm like, so you want me to do individual counseling, small groups, do my whole group, but then do all these other meetings, but then I can't ask teachers to leave out the classroom because the kids got to be tended to because we don't have any subs. So it's like it's very different. However, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it do what it do, because at this point, I can't stress. At the beginning, I was so stressed. I was literally every day leaving off of this computer with a headache. And I was like, that's not gonna work for me every day.
No.
So I literally told myself, if I get the meeting this day, if I don't, I'll reschedule it. Like, it's just, I literally have a certain time block on a certain day to do all types of between 504s, sit, SSTs, all those different things. And then not to mention the parents that want to meet with you to talk about whatever they're going through.
Yes. And that's another thing too, the meetings. We had to have so many meetings. Well, we had to have a meeting for every student on my caseload. So all the special education teachers who has a student with an IEP, we had to amend, I should say, their IEPs to reflect virtual learning. And then that was a process within itself. And then trying to get parents to understand it, because they're like, wait, what do you mean virtual learning? My child is not going to do this. Or, we had some parents on board and we have some parents who were not on board. But so, yes, and that's what I dealt with a lot at the beginning of the year. We had a cutoff, we had a deadline, our district wanted us to have all these meetings done by a certain time. And, so I found myself in a meeting every day, and those meetings last a long time. So yeah, it was a lot to juggle. I'm finally at a space now where I'm actually able to work. I'm not in, all the meetings have kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's still a juggle, because I'm trying to recreate things that I would normally do. So, and I'm just like, okay, well, what can I do to kind of entice and engage a 4-year-old? I'm pulling things out of my home. I'm searching the internet, and mind you, we do professional developments and they give us tips and things, but it's still, I tell everybody, I feel like this is my first year again as a teacher. It's crazy. It is, but hey, we're getting it done.
Yeah. Well, I teach first grade, and this is my first year actually in first grade. So it has been, like you said, in the beginning, they were on the computer, and we had like a schedule, but we only had meetings maybe like twice a week because of their age, because of their attention span. But the expectation changed to now they're expected to sit in front of the computer from 8:30 till 2:05. So, and every day. So it has been a challenge for me trying to figure out how to keep them engaged. In the beginning, we were at home. I live in Miami-Dade County, which is Florida is a whole nother monster. So we are actually, you know, our numbers were very, very high, still going up, but our governor, you know, has said that we had to open back up. So we are back in school. Not all of the kids. Right now, I'm still a virtual teacher, but I have to go to work every day. So I'm in my classroom by myself every day, which was an adjustment for my home life because I had to leave my daughter and my dad, you know, and we had a choice to decide whether or not you wanted your child to go back to school or not. So I chose for Kaylin to stay home, you know, but I have to go back to work every day. So just adjusting her to, all right, I have to set an alarm on my phone to wake her up, to make sure that she gets up for her classes. I had to literally, in order to get a response from her teachers, I had to email them from my district email because when I was going through the parent portal, they were not responding. But when they figured out that, okay, her mom must be a teacher too. Oh, okay. Now we're going to respond to her, you know.
I played that card too a couple of times with my daughter's teacher. I'm like, hey, I'm an educator as well. And then, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's funny because she said, Mommy, they're calling my name. They never called me before. They never said anything to me. And I was like, are you okay? Do you have everything you need? Do you know what you're doing? But it's like those kind of games that we have to play in order to get what we need to get done in this setting now with the with COVID. I have learned so much in terms of like PowerPoint and Google Slides and all of those things, to keep the kids engaged. And we have a good lunch break. So, and I also implement brain breaks for them. And as far as myself, I just make sure that I give myself room away from like those meetings and stuff. I have to, I'm like every day after school, I cannot meet with my team. Like let's keep this to a minimum. Send an email. And I had to advocate for myself in that way because if I didn't, then, you know, I think that I would keep being overwhelmed. But I'm settled into my routine. I feel confident that my students are learning. Now, one thing about right now what's going on is that they're starting to open up more classes here. So we had one first grade class open, but now they're going to open up 2 starting tomorrow. I mean, another one starting tomorrow. I'm going to remain online, but they took a survey and asked parents if they wanted them to come back. And a few of my parents did say yes, but the school did not let them know that they were not going to be with me. So now I'm running into the situation where parents are, well, I thought that you were going to still be her teacher. Okay, well, so, and it's like my principal and assistant principal, they have a job to do. But I'm like, guys, let's not forget about caring about these people, these parents, these children, and what their needs are. And let's make sure that you're being honest with them so that they can then make a choice for themselves. Because imagine a child seeing me tomorrow in the school, but not being able to go with me as their teacher. That could be traumatic.
Yeah, very traumatic. That is, I don't even know how that is a thought process for leaders to say during this time, let's pick up these little kids. Guess what? You're going back to school, yay! But your teacher that you've been with is not going to be your teacher.
But she's not your teacher anymore. And I'm
I
like,
literally had to just explain that to my daughter yesterday, actually, because her district, they just did the same thing, sent out a survey, you know, whether or not you want to send your child back or you want your child to continue virtually, because they're planning to open up at the end of next month. And of course, my daughter, she wants to go back to school. She's like, I want to go back to school. I want to go back to school. You know, she's ready. She's over virtual learning. She just wants to go in person. So I told her, I was like, well, if we choose to send you back, you know, your teacher you have now may not be your teacher. And she was just like, what do you mean? You know, and they did not say that, but I know that because
As
that's
an
what
educator, you know that.
I know that, right?
Right.
Because I know they're setting, because they're giving kids an option. You can do virtual or, you know, in
Right.
person. So when they give an option, that means they have to reserve some teachers just to teach virtual and then some teachers just to teach in person. So when I told her that, it kind of like burst her bubble, and she was just like, well, wait, what do you mean I'm not going to have my same teacher? So yeah, but I kind of feel some type of way about giving a parents a choice. I feel like that puts pressure on me, because it's like, not that I want you to make the decision for me, but it makes it harder for me to make a decision, because it's like I'm gonna feel guilty if I send her back, but then a part of me will feel guilty if I don't send her back, you know, or not guilty, but you know, just unsure of what the right move is for her, you know. And it's just like, oh, why do I have to make this decision? Like, either you're gonna open or you're gonna just stay closed. Like, I feel like I should not have that weight of me, because that's a big decision to make, because you know, ultimately you want your kids safe, but at the same time, you know, I know a lot of them want to be back in school. And then I know too, for some, like my daughter, she's very fidgety, should I say. So, and she's learned how to kind of cope, and you know, she's doing a lot better with virtual learning. But I know for her, in-person learning will be best for her, you know. But you know, I just hate that I have to make that decision, because you just don't know what the right decision is, you know.
Yeah. A lot of uncertainty.
I am a specials teacher, so I don't have the load right now like I used to of being in a classroom. But that's even difficult. I teach dance in my school, so it's physical, right? So in the beginning, I'm not as technically savvy, I feel, as like some of the younger teachers, because I'm up there, but just trying to like still engage them. And I know a lot of parents were getting frustrated, like, you know, we spent all day in the classroom doing like language arts, math, all that good stuff, and then now we have to like spend time, especially the younger ones, parents have to help their younger kids. It is what it is. So just trying to like make it so that the parents don't have to physically be hands-on, because what parent wants to dance, or what parent wants to spend another like half hour, 40 minutes doing something physical when they could be, you know, relaxing. But it's just been a challenge trying to just like figure things out. I mean, in the classroom, I'm able to like physically work with them, but being on the computer is difficult for that reason. I don't know how many more Fortnite videos I can have them follow, or how many more Just Dance, or, you know, even like just trying to get them to do things that are different. But it's been good. My district, we were supposed to go back October, then it got pushed back to November, and now it's been pushed back to January. So just trying to like cope with that. I know some of the districts have opened, and there's been like one or two kids who've tested positive, so they had to shut down again for 2 weeks, and that's been going on around here. My personal kids, our district has been hybrid since it started. So they have 2 days they go in, 2 days they're home, and then the whole school does live instruction on Fridays. So that's been good. Since my kids are 13, they're kind of hands-on. I'm just trying to teach them now to advocate more for themselves, as far as like emailing teachers. That's been a struggle. You know, they're on all day. It's tough for me to like be behind them. Before, I would check the portal daily to make sure their stuff was in, but now it's a little different. So I'm just trying to teach them, like, if you have a question, you're learning all this like high school math, and they're in 8th grade now. My son takes some high school courses. So, you know, it's important that he's still learning. And I worry about that too, because I know it's tough teaching new stuff. In the beginning, they were just kind of doing a review. The end of the year last year, everything was a review, you know. There's some busy work just to keep you going. But now this is like new stuff. And I can't help, because it's like new math stuff. Like anything past 4th grade, don't ask me, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm trying to get them just to to advocate and
Yeah.
ask questions, email if you need some time. Like there's teachers have office hours. I'm just trying to teach them. It's like college. Like,
Yep.
you know, they're kind of not teaching themselves, but doing the bulk themselves.
They're on their own. They're on their own. Yeah.
I know a lot of teachers want to go back in, but to be honest, like this time has given me the opportunity to like, you know, make a good breakfast every morning for my kids instead of just like making sure they have like Pop-Tarts, you know, because before I would leave out before them. And it's just given me this time that I am really enjoying and trying to take advantage of. Like even myself, I'm able to like sing a full song in the shower in the morning instead of just like jumping.
Yes.
And, like I can bring like my speaker in there and I can listen to like a song or two instead, you know, just like the little things you take for granted. In between, I'm able to like vacuum a little, like I don't come in and the house is a mess. So I am personally enjoying this time. It's frustrating, but I think I'm kind of thanking God for him like slowing everybody down. I think this is just a time we'll just have to get through.
We found the good in it, which is hard to do when everything is so overwhelming with negative from all directions, whether it's your school, the TV, whatever. All this negativity can cause you not to look at the little good things that this has really brought. I know for me with Ava starting, oh, I shouldn't say starting starting school, you know, she started kindergarten. And so I was like, I wanted to do that whole drop off. I knew I would cry. I wanted to experience all of that. I wanted to. And I'm sure if she starts first grade, I'll be able to do the same thing. And I'll probably cry because she'll be leaving the nest. But my fear, though, is that she is so used to being home now. I mean, granted, she was in a program before Corona, but she only was in part-time. So for her, it was still a cutoff and I was back with family. And I had a couple of fears going into the start of her school year. One, and I'm gonna be straight up, like, is she gonna have a Black teacher? And because I see often where kids go through that look like us, go through their school years and their first Black teacher may be not until high school. And I'm like, and I mean, there's nothing against other colors, people of color, or I'll just say white people. Let me just say that. There's nothing against them teaching our students, but I feel a type of way when I know that there is a Black African American teacher teaching my daughter, and I know that she understands or he understands. And I can't say that they totally understand because we're not all from the same background, but that was a fear, like a fear where I was in tears, like, what if she just doesn't care about her? What if she doesn't challenge her? What if she doesn't do this? Granted, you know, she got a Black teacher, as my husband says, Marcus says, he's like, she black. And so, but like black meaning like culture, history, like you know, she is that. I'm like, whatever, Marcus, you don't know that, but that's what he gets from her. And she loves her. Like, she's so engaging. And so I feel like I don't have to worry too much about her. She's become so independent so fast, can maneuver Google Classroom. And I'm just like, turn around, looking behind her, like, you got everything? You good? I got it, mommy, I got it. And I'm like, okay, so you don't need my help anymore.
They are resilient. They are resilient. All of my team is older teachers, and they, you know, have their ways of doing things, and they want to do the drive-bys where the parents come pick up the papers. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Photocopy paper, like still, oh no.
The worksheets.
I have taught my kids we have ebooks. I've taught them how to go onto their ebooks. I can assign lessons on their ebooks, and they can get on there and do those lessons. The thing computes it for you. I don't have to grade. All I have to do is look at it. The grades are there, boom, 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 and I can transfer into my grade book. I'm not going back to paper and pencil. Even if we go back to brick and mortar, I don't want to do that.
I was just going to say that I think this has taught us, like, it's given us a new wave of how to teach. And like you said, Nicole, I think a lot of people are going to kind of continue on this way. This is going to be the new way to teach. You know, this is like we're preparing for our future right now. And like you said, I think a lot we're finding the good in it. A lot of teachers are enjoying, or you know, since now they've had a few months to kind of figure it all out. And I really do think, like you said, this may be the next way, the next pathway to education. You know, everything's going to be online.
I mean, they talk about STEM all the time. You know, this is the technology piece, and why not teach us how to properly be those STEM educators? And you know, what perfect way? I mean, granted, it's not the ideal situation, but it's forcing us to really do that. And I mean, I know one thing that our county said is, or the state of Maryland said, well, this lets us know we no longer need to have snow days. And so some kids and teachers were like, no snow days. That means that was like a traditional thing, you know, you wait for snow to come, and then in the morning you see there's no snow. They're like, get on the computer. Everybody's going to be on the computer now. So you don't have to go into the building, but you're going to be right there on the computer. And so, you know, that's kind of like, hopefully, you know, people become a little innovative on those snow days and make it still feel like a fun
snow day.
But I don't know. But I heard Nicole, you mentioned creating boundaries. And at one point, like I switched schools. Don't ask me why I decided to switch schools during quarantine, during Corona. But
I didn't even know that, Miriam.
My last school, I was there for 6 years as a counselor. And so towards the end, administration changed, and that was like, mind you, during that time I was getting my ed specialist degree and my admin 1. So I was doing some internships. So I didn't mind some of the workload they were giving me because it was part of my grade. Well, when that was over and we had a new AP come in that wasn't necessarily pulling their weight, it was falling on my lap because the principal knew I could do it, which was fine to a certain extent, because even when he was asked to do it, he wasn't getting it done. Well, needless to say, I transferred because that was just too much. I was getting, it was becoming toxic because then the principal changed. And that was a whole, like, just like, you know what, this is not how a school really should be ran. You're not interested in the kids, you're not interested in the families, you're not interested in the teachers. So if I have the option to move, I'm going to move. Now, that was an interesting thing because, you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Right.
And so far it's good, but I struggled at some points in creating boundaries in a new environment because you just don't, you know who you're dealing with. And so one thing my therapist told me, she was like, who else gonna do it? You got to do it. Like, they're not going to be able to read your mind and say, oh, she has too much on her plate, or she doesn't really want to even do that. Because there's times when I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a part of that committee. Like, I don't want to lead that committee. But she's like, just say it. Of course, don't say it like that, but, you know, say it. And so that's something that when I started out the school, yes, I'm going to take that. I'm going to draw my little boundary lines, and I'm going to advocate for myself and my mental, because I was becoming overwhelmed by like the list of things that I was over or having to do or lead out on, and that was too much. And so luckily, you know, my principal was like, okay, you know, just, you know, it's not a problem. Let me know. Like, I can't be a tag teacher right now. That was something I cannot do that. And you're asking me to go into classrooms. When am I have time to do anything else? So that was something that stuck out to me, Nicole, like boundaries, because boundaries equals your self-care. Like, it really does. It really helps you stick to something that's for you.
It's funny. It's great. Michelle, I listened to the Michelle Obama podcast. I don't know if any of you listened to it when she had it, But she spoke on that and saying like how you need to kind of advocate for yourself and not allow people to fill your schedule. You know, if basically saying, like you said, you know, say no, because if you agree and say yes to everything, people are just going to keep throwing stuff in your lap. And there has to be a point where you just need to kind of, hey, I'm working from, I don't know, 8 to 3 o'clock, I'm done, you know, so just setting boundaries and not overworking yourself, because people will constantly give, because like you said, they're not mind readers. So as long as you're agreeing to it, they're like, oh, you know, Miriam will do it, Nicole will do it, you know, they're okay, they'll take it on. And so I'm learning that as I get older too. I am not afraid to say no. You know, it's just like, hey, I'm sorry, I just cannot do it. I you know, I love to, you know, be able to, but I just can't, you know, and I'm okay with that. So yeah.
And then what ends up happening is that when people come to you, they know how to come to you. So it's like, all right, let me see. My school, you know, it's like, okay, well, all right, let's see. Can we ask her to do that? Because I don't know. Or you know what? I'm just going to send her an email. I'm not going to bother her. Yeah, because it's an email. You didn't have to talk to me. We didn't have a meeting for this.
Yep. No, that's true. They definitely. No, I think at my previous school, I was becoming very out of character. Like, not at one point, I didn't mind. Like, I loved like helping out, loved helping teachers, and then I would start telling teachers like, I'm not the admin. Go ask them, because I got to that point where like I don't even know what's going on anymore. So don't ask me. And they're like, whoa. And that's when I was like, okay, you being real, you know, bitchy, so to speak. And just because I was so over them. But now it's like, you know what? I don't need to get out of character. I can still be very, you know, assertive and tell them what it is that I want or don't want, and hopefully get the respect behind that. And so far, I will say I'm learning them as well as they're learning me. And our communication is, you know, getting better, because I'll say, hey, I noticed that you had me down for this, and I'm doing, you know, X, Y, and Z, but how about, can we change this? Because I've learned if I come with a solution, then most likely you're going to roll with it. If I just come and complain, it's going to be like, well, what you going to do? What's the plan?
Right.
But yeah. So, okay. What are y'all doing though for yourself? I mean, I like, what are you doing for yourself? I mean, I've heard, like, we've literally gone from talking about what we're doing for our students, how we are still, you know, helping out our families, you know, or worried about our families. And I mean, Lauren, you touched on, you get to take your showers a little bit longer, and, you know, that is a big plus. What else though do you do, like self-care wise, mindfulness wise?
Well, back in March, when this first started, I was going through, prior to March, before the coronavirus, I was just going through some I don't even know the word for it, just like, not depressed, but just like in a funk for a couple of months. I just felt like I lost myself. Like I said, I teach, I own a business, and I have the kids. So I own a dance studio. So literally, and I work at a charter school. So my schedule's intense. I'm at work 6:45 in the morning until 4:30. And then I would come home. The dance studio classes start at 5:15, 5:30. So in between that time, depending, like my son plays sports, I'm trying to, like, you know, at least show my face so I'm not the black mom that is never around, you know, show my face, drop him off at practice, and go straight to the studio till like 8 or 9 o'clock. And that's Monday through Friday, wake up Saturday morning for the studio, do that. So I was like just losing myself, to the point where I was like coming in, eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night, every night. Just not feeling, I had put on some weight. I had some like medical stuff. I was like swelling, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think the pandemic happened at the right time, because it was like a click for me. I started eating healthier, started like able to like work out a little bit. And I have not felt this good personally in years. I mean, it's a whole different, like, I don't know how it's going to be going back full time. And I'm trying to think of, honestly, maybe a career change or something different, because I know that I don't want to be where I was personally again. So although I love what I do, I'm trying to figure out a different route, because I can't give myself, or, tend to hundreds of other kids when I'm like, and I'm not able to like be there for my own kids. I feel 100%. And that was killing me.
You can't force
Missing
it.
out on like small things, like literally going all day without seeing my kids, and then coming home and just checking just to see if they do their work. I was missing those little like conversations, like how's school today, like anything that's going on. And since they're teenagers, that's crucial.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out what is going on. So I've been like just trying to take me time. I'm eating better meals. I'm able to like cook differently, a bigger variety, instead of like chicken and rice every night. We're doing some pasta here and, something there. But yeah, I'm just trying to like take care of me. I feel really good right now.
Yeah.
That's deep, because that takes that whole self-reflection thing and being honest as you're reflecting is one of the hardest tasks to do about yourself, because we don't ever want to, we are our worst critics, but we don't ever want to be like we're terrible or we're like not at our best, that takes you down a whole road. But it's good when you can self-reflect and act on it.
Yes.
I think when quarantine, when we first started quarantine and everybody was on lockdown, all of us were in the house, man, I was struggling. Like, I mean, I found myself just irritable, just snapping over little things, like just really just, for lack of a better term, going crazy. I'm just like, man, this can't be life. Like, I got to figure out how to deal with this better, and I know it was just a lot of, everything just abruptly changed for everyone. So I had to kind of get used to the new norm, so to speak. And it has taken me a while to finally kind of get into a new space. And like you said, Lauren, I can appreciate the quarantine for many reasons. And those reasons being, it has given me the freedom to have more me time, in a sense. So it's kind of crazy sounding, but I am able because I am busy. I am busy, but I'm busy in another way. Like I like you said, I don't have to get up as early. I don't have to get everybody out of the house, get, my daughter to school, the baby to daycare, my son to preschool, get myself to work. So my mornings are a little calmer, it's just a matter of, and I don't have to get, I get dressed, but I don't have to get fully dressed from head to toe. It's easier. So I'm appreciative of that. But getting back to self-care, recently I've started taking time for myself to do some kind of at least 30 minutes of exercise. So that has, and I said, you know what, this is for me. I'm going to just do this for me. And like Lauren said, it's made me feel better. And then to piggyback off of that, I've been, changing up my diet a little bit, trying to reduce, sugar. And that has helped as well. But I find simple things like late at night when everybody's in bed, I'll put my ear pods in, I'll listen to some music or a podcast, and I'm just chilling. So I'm like, okay, this feels good. Everybody's in bed, and my husband, he'll be like, well, come to bed. I'm just like, no, I just want to kind of hang out by myself.
He's like, come to bed.
Right. And I'm like, nah, I want to chill on the couch. I want time. I want the TV to myself. I want my phone to myself. I want my music to myself. And even if I'm like just walking around the house, cleaning up, but it feels good because that's my me time. I'm by myself doing that, and I take that as my self-care. So, you know, I just recently hooked up with a nutritionist. She's kind of been coaching me along, giving me tips. She not only helps me with, you know, dieting and everything, but she kind of helps me out with um, helping my stress levels. And she had recommended meditation, and that's something that I've never done. I really just don't know how to meditate, really. And I haven't tried it yet, which that's on my list of things to do this week. But she recommended an app called Calm, or I think the other one is called My Calm, My Space. I think I wrote it down somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but I know one of them is called Calm. And so she was like, just download that app and, you know, try to meditate either early in the morning or wait late at night when everybody sleeps. So that's something I'm willing to kind of try out and see how it works. I don't know if any of you've ever meditated before, but
look, quarantine has. Okay. Let me back up though. My niece, who is holistic, vegan, all of this stuff. When she stayed with me last summer, she really introduced a lot to me, from like the sea moss stuff to just eating live and, you know, like whatever. And so I took on some of her things that she did, and she's like this yogi doing all this extra stuff. So I was like, you know what, she seems, so of course she's young, so of course she's always going to seem a lot more up and upbeat than I am, but I appreciate her outlook on everything. And so I would take some of her little things. Well, let's fast forward to COVID, and I have generalized anxiety disorder. I've had that. I remember when I was in class with Nicole, she was sitting behind me, and I was like, it was probably a month after my grandmother passed, and I was sitting there and I was like, Nicole, I can't breathe. She was like, Miriam, you're talking to me. What are you talking about? I was like, I can't breathe, Nicole, I can't breathe. It was in that language class that we were taking. And she was like, I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. Like, I was literally nothing was happening, nothing was going on, but I was having a full-blown panic attack. She was like, all right, come on, let's go. And she was like, girl, what is wrong? And so that happened. And I was like, okay, what is that? Happened again when I moved to Virginia, my first year teaching. And I remember calling my mother at 2:00 in the morning. Of course, you call your parents at 2:00 in the morning, you 10 hours away, they think something is wrong. I was like, I can't breathe. Again, they were like, you're talking to us. You can breathe. Like, what is going on? She was just like, just take some deep breaths and, you know, relax. And come to find out, it was just me and my anxieties and my stressors from whether it was grief or just moving to a new place, you know, on your own. That I had just found out my mother had cancer, but I didn't deal with it the right way. So it was like all these things. So now COVID hits, and I'm thinking I can roll with the punches again. And I'm like literally in the living room, going between my legs, trying to breathe and doing all these. And Marcus is looking at me like, oh my gosh, she's gone crazy. And I got the weighted blanket wrapped around me. I have my heating pad, because when I get anxiety, I start to get tense. My neck and everything starts to get tight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is not going to be the rest of this time when I'm sitting. I have to figure this out. So I started working out. I started, you know, figuring out like, okay, what is going to work for me. So I started journaling, meditating, Deepak Chopra and Oprah's little thing. They have a great like 30-day plan of meditation. And granted, meditating is hard. It's really hard because your mind drifts naturally. And so I could never do a whole 30 minutes, but the moments that I was in it and I was just lost, like, it really does make a huge difference. And I would do it right in the tub, in the bubbles, meditating. And then I would start seeing fingers under the door.
Yeah.
Doing it there. And I'm like,
yes.
I'm like, heck. So that like breaks it, but it relieved a lot. And not to mention, I told you I go to therapy too. And so she actually helped me, and she introduced me to magnesium, the calm magnesium. That is like amazing in itself. And so just implementing like some
Supplement?
I was gonna ask you, is that like a tea or a supplement or something?
supplement. And so you put it in like 2 ounces of warm water. It fizzes up, and then you pour like regular, cold water over it, and you drink it.
Go get that and show us. Send us the picture.
I'm gonna send you out a picture after this.
Yeah.
I was first skeptical because I was like, all right, like we'll see. But she was like, she takes it too, and with lemon balm tincture. And so I do it at night because at one point I wasn't getting any sleep. Like I was just like wide awake, watching crazy stuff on TV, and just thinking about I have coronavirus, any call for anything. I was going through it, y'all. I really was. Like, if I'm being full transparent right now, I really was.
Yeah.
And I remember my anxiety was making me feel like I had to cough because I felt like somebody was choking me.
Yeah.
Having these coughing fits.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. He was like, you ain't been nowhere. Nobody's been here. Like, chill the F out. Like, what is wrong with you? And I started adding all of those things. And of course, the weighted blanket eventually started to leave. I don't need that anymore. And I haven't even actually used Calm in probably this last month. But I know I have it if I ever get in that place again. But it was from March maybe until May. I was just, he's like, I want to go see my parents or whatever. I'm like, no. We go right here on Zoom. And I felt so bad. And then eventually he was like, baby steps. We'll be in the car out the window. I'm so thankful that he dealt with my crazy for a while because, your anxiety can shed off on other people. It could really push itself on other people and make them start to feel anxious. I'm anxious for you. And I'm feeling that way and I don't even feel that way. And I'm like, I'm sorry, thank you. I was literally taking 2 or 3 showers a day, just let the water hit on me and working myself up. And so like just learning all the things that worked for me, which took a lot of things to try. I look back at my journal book. In the journal, like the stuff written was like in big words and letters, like get yourself together, just writing, getting stuff out of my head. But I think like it allowed me to see what also I want to do for self-care. So like I started just doing like simple things, whether it's, I'm not even like cooking, but the HelloFresh meals that I started getting like years ago, I was like, let me get more than 2 a week. Let me do 3, because that's actually something to do. It's calming, it's relaxing. I can watch my TV while I'm doing it. I can, do whatever. And I know we're eating healthy. And then working out, at one point I was doing it too much. And my therapist was like, that's part of your anxiety, where you got to get all that energy out. And you were so then I became like, where I wasn't doing it enough, taking these long breaks of not working out, and then you start to feel sluggish. But like realizing like I need to figure out what works for me. I need to figure out how I can be present for my kids, because I felt like I wasn't really being present because I was so stuck in my own head with what's going on. It was a challenge, but I can say all of that taught me like what I feel like and how I act when I'm in those moments. And I can pick up on it. And as my therapist said, she was like, it's okay to be in the moment. It's okay when it happens. Just take note of it and then try to figure your way out of it. But I even
do you guys find that you took your stress out on like the person closest to you, like your husband or or your children? It's just like I found like I would have moments and I would be talking to my husband and I just would start bawling. I was like, he's like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you going through? And at the time I didn't even know myself. And I'm like, I had to check myself, like, what am I going through? Like, why am I crying? You know, why am I feeling? I mean, I was just so overly emotional about like everything. Like little things would just really bother me. And I'm just like, I gotta get better. I can't continue like this, you know. Or like it'll be something simple like that my husband maybe just didn't do, and I would make it a big issue. And he's like, yo, you tripping. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. It's really not that big of a deal. I don't know why I'm making it bigger than what it is. But, you know, in reflecting back, I was just thinking like, wow, it's something I need to work on my soul. Like I need to work on me so I don't provide or put off this, you know, negative energy or emotional spirit, you know, because I know our emotions are real and we got to face them and kind of deal with them. But, you know, this has really kind of made me aware. I think before we were just on the go, you know, going to work, coming home, dinner, you know, you didn't really have time to kind of really be in touch with yourself. And so this quarantine has really got me in touch with myself. And I'm just like, wow, you know, it's crazy, but
Which
yeah.
can be scary though, because some things that we run away from or avoid to think about, or you know, just whatever you know, because you were in a schedule, you were on this to go, you got home, cook dinner, you go into bed, you don't have time to really think. And so during this time you start thinking about everything and you start questioning everything, and then it's like you start driving yourself a little crazy.
Yeah,
That's yeah. I definitely took it out on.
yeah.
I mean, it's easy too. It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy because they're there, and it's just like, okay, you get the you get to be cussed out today. I'm sorry.
Well, it's funny. Speaking of relationships, and I know I had spoke to you guys. We did our little Zoom thing a while ago. My relationship with my fiance took a huge toll during this. We're still like going through some things, and I think the pandemic has just made some people crazy. But being stuck in the house was great for like the kids, but I find myself like with him, just looking at him funny, like watching that on TV, the way he was chewing was getting on my nerves. Like, and I guess like you said, we're so used to running, and as sad as it is, I feel like we both kind of learned each other all over again during this pandemic, because like throughout this time, all these years, I guess we never knew each other to the point that we do now, and we get on each other's nerves. And I think we just needed everything to open back up. You know, we were on lockdown for a while, so even like the cooking thing, you know, not all men, but he was like another kid in the house sometimes, you know. Like you're here, like little stuff, like even like I know I always had to remind him to take the trash out, but being stuck in the house, like, bruh, you don't see the trash? Like I don't understand. Like you're putting stuff in the trash can and it's filled to the top. Like, why do I still have to tell you to take it out? Then that causes an argument because you think I'm trying to tell you what to do, but you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Like it was like a lot of that every day going on, like just a lot. And him trying to like invite his friends and his, you know, family over. And I'm like, listen, like I don't know where you people been. You're not trying to get no Rona over here. Like the relationship part definitely has taken a toll. So that has been tough, and it still is. But hopefully we'll get through this. If not,
stop it, Lord.
You know how I feel.
Oh boy,
yeah.
Stop it.
But, I as far as self-care, I do the Janae Aiko triggered mantra. You can find it on YouTube. It's
what? What was that?
I ain't never heard of that. Look,
Down.
I'll send it to you guys. I'll send it to you. But Janae Aiko has a triggered mantra that she uses. It's like a protection mantra, and I love it. I can play it when I'm cleaning. I can play it, you know, to meditate, but I use it a lot just to like start my mornings with it. I do like my meditations in the morning, and I do reflections and reading. And I really enjoy that mantra because it helps you. So it's, for me, it's just been a part of starting my day. As far as like, yeah, relationships and stuff. Yeah, hey, and my partner gets on my nerves, like all of you have said. Just learning each other all over again. That's been like, it's been hard. We don't live together, so still trying to see each other and maneuver our families and everything has been difficulty. But I think we've done pretty good, Still.
Y'all had. No, that relationship part is I think the last time I spoke to y'all, I was saying the good thing is he works in his office downstairs away. So when during the day I don't see him. I think our little arguments have been like it could be like almost not first thing in the morning, but I'd have to do morning announcements. So I'm usually at 7:45. Hello, da 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 da, and what I'm in that mode, and
You have to be chipper. Uh-huh.
My 5-year-old behind me, and she's starting. But when we first started, she wasn't able to get everything right. So I'm like, I need you down here with us. Like, you can't. I know you don't have to be at work till 9, but I need your help because I have to be on, and she is still trying to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he did it for like a couple of days, and then he'll wake up and say, "What you need me to do?" And then I'll say, "Oh, nothing." And he'll go back to sleep. But in my head, I'm like, "Just get up, just get up." And maybe there's something you can find, like pick up some of the toys that are in there. And I'm like, okay, if I do that, I'm gonna start stressing him out and making him feel some type of way. So I was like, you know what? I need to learn how to fall back in a sense of he's not gonna want to do everything I do when I first wake up. Like, I don't mind cleaning when I wake up in the morning, but that. So like our little, spiffs would be regarding just that support that I felt like I needed in the very beginning of school starting. When I had to run to the store to get her a STEM activity, like some candy corn and toothpicks. I didn't see it the night before. So that morning I was like, okay, I need you to get up and get her online. I usually brush her teeth because she's still falling asleep. So I'm like, you won't have to do all that. He doesn't realize what I do in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I get back. I come back in the house, walk up the steps. He's standing in the kitchen trying to figure out. He goes, "So how do you get?" And I'm like, it's November. I mean, pretty much it's end of October. You don't know how to get any. I'm gonna have to learn. Well, it's 7:30. She's supposed to already be on. Which you mean you're gonna have to learn. We can't teach you right now. I'm gonna need you to. He was like, "So do you click on this Zoom button or that?" And I'm like, "Really?" And Abe was like, "I know how to do it."
Listen, I feel you 100%. Like, I feel like sometimes when I leave my kids with my husband and I don't leave any kind of direction, it's like chaos. It's almost like preparing for a substitute teacher. Like, you got like, you gotta write out plans, map it out, tell them what time to do this and that, how to do it. I'm just like,
fire in case of a fire,
Right. It was so funny. Literally the other night, I took Ryan out. She wanted to get her Halloween costume, and we were out. I picked her up after dance, and that's another thing. I'm a dance mom, and she does dance 3-4 days a week. So I'm constantly, juggling her schedule. But she needed to get a costume because they're allowed to wear their costumes to dance next week. So I was like, all right, let's get you a costume. And it was around dinner time. And I knew my youngest, the baby, had to eat. So I called him and I'm like, all right, this is what you need to get. I was like, go on the refrigerator, look behind this, get this, take it out, scoop it out. Then the broccoli's over here. He was just like, I'm gonna just wait till you get home. Because he was like, it was just too overwhelming for him. I'm like, dang, and that made me realize, I'm like, you know what? I need to fall back a little bit and let him take responsibility to learn how to do some things, because he relies on me so much just to even heat up a meal in the microwave for the baby. You know, just like, it's not hard, but it's just like, it was too much, because I was giving him I was like, all right, because it was like sweet potatoes and broccoli. And I was like, the sweet potato is over here wrapped up, the broccoli's in this container, heat it up for this long, put this on it. You know, he was just like, I'm gonna just wait till you get home. This is too much.
Do you think that's part of our, I know for me, control is a
yes, me too.
Want it your way. And he points it out to me all the time, like, even if you ask me, you know, what you think, what I think, you know, I want his opinion on it, I still somehow, some way get what I want. And and I realized, and I told my therapist, I was like, look, I have to figure out how to like change that, because, so for instance, like this, I'm being transparent. This picture behind me hanging on this wall, I don't like it, right? I don't like it. But I mean, not that it's not cute or anything, but I don't. But it's something he picked out, and I was like, I need to learn, like, okay,
not to control everything.
Right, we're at the store, and I was like, oh yeah, it's cute, but and he was just like, oh, I like how big it is. Look at the color, so pretty. But and I'm like, all right, Miriam, this is the time where you can just let him, you know, choose something. And like, I caught myself one day looking at it like, was really looking at it like, do I say something? Do I just let it hang? And I was like, I'm just gonna let it hang, and I'm just gonna have to learn how to just live with it. But that was one thing. That was my first step of not controlling everything. He said, everything else in this house you have said, it's including our room, and I know it looks like a female's room. But I mean, like, whatever. Like, you have your office, you can do whatever you want down there. But that control part was something, because even when it comes to, if I leave dinner up to him, you know, I have to realize we don't cook the same. What he likes and what he thinks the kids like, I have to let him just do that. And I have to say, okay, and eat it, you know, especially if I want to break. So, and not cook. But he's like, oh, this is how I grew up eating or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you know, just go along with it and just go along and eat with it. But it's really allowed me to see, like, wow, sometimes I can be very rigid and very like controlling, like, to say the least, and just needing to, that can be overbearing to people. And I don't want to do that to somebody that I'm stuck in the house with, you know what I mean? So
but I think that it goes back to like what Brandy was saying. I don't think it's like intentional that we do that. I'm sure we all have a little bit of that control in us, but you know, when men have you take the lead and have you, you know, you're like the manager, right?
Yes, the manager.
So when you take the lead on things and they fall back, it often becomes that. I mean, recently we redid the living room. Well, I did. I waited till he left. I picked out the paint, curtains, like everything. Everything changed up. He came home and it was an argument. And he's like, you know, you don't ask for my input. And it's like, I honestly really don't care. But I didn't even think to ask, because there's so many things that he's hands off with that I just naturally just go with it. Because I know sometimes I'll ask for, oh, do you like this or this? And it's like, oh, I don't care about that. So like, you know, I think they kind of force us to take the lead on things, and then they want to get all sensitive.
Right. It's like, tell me right then and there what you think and how you feel, because I'm gonna do that.
Right.
I'm gonna do that. And so, and then when I don't, that's myself of picking my battles. Nicole taught me that a long time ago, like boyfriend time. Like, girl, pick and choose your own battles. They gonna make time for whatever they want to, you know, make time for. Like, that has stuck with me for a long time, and not necessarily with my marriage, but dealing with people. And so, like, I literally pick and choose my battles. Like, is this really worth an argument or worth him feeling some type of way. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Deal whatever is happening right now and just move it. Sometimes the downfall to that is some things are worth saying or speaking up about, and then you don't, and then it comes back around, and then you're like, well, this happened last week too, and I just didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, when you hold it in. Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. But I think it's important for, for couples in a relationship to kind of have specified roles and responsibilities. Like, I know I am the primary caretaker of our children. Like, I kind of run everything involved in their lives. So that's just my role. That's just what I've always done. It's just what I do. But at the same time, I feel like, hey, well, maybe, you should take them to the doctor, or maybe, you should give them the bath at night. So just to give me a break, because I realized, like, man, with me managing everything from talking to teachers, buying things they need, taking them to their doctor's appointment. Like, I literally manage everything, and I manage so much to the point where he's just clueless as to what to do with them, or how to kind of take things on. But then on the same token, he manages things that I have no idea how to do, So I think that kind of plays into our roles and responsibilities. But at the same time, I think we need to kind of work on finding a balance. So one parent is not doing this, taking care of the kids all the time, while the other parent is, I don't know, managing just the household bills and everything, And to be honest with you, I don't even know how to pay my mortgage, because that is not what I do. That is what he does, or, little things like that. And I'm okay with that, but I've realized that too during quarantine. I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to go pull out that Excel spreadsheet he got going on with the list of all the household bills. And I'm like, okay, that's what he does, that's his role. Because if I had to keep up with the finances, shoot, we'd be out this house. I'd be paying a bill late. I'd be like, wait a minute, I don't know if that's calculated right. Like, that's not my area, So, I'm okay with us having different roles. But like I said, being a mom, and I've realized too, I used to sit back and wonder, I wonder what it's like to be a housewife, or to be a stay-at-home mom. Girl, I realized that is not the life for me. Even though that's what I'm living right now, I feel like. But it's a tough job, being home and managing.
You're a stay-at-home. We're being stay-at-home parents, right? But working too.
But working,
those
right?
two rarely mix unless you are, having like a, you hear sometimes stay-at-home moms. Oh, I have like a part-time job. I may work at Nordstrom, or I may work at, something just to keep myself busy. All right. We're talking about full-time jobs where you are, still maintaining home and here. That's crazy. I know Marcus, though, he's definitely like, I hope he doesn't get mad that I just said his name, but he he definitely and I don't know if it's because I don't know, but he when I told him, like, look, there's some days that I can't take them to the doctor, or I can't do these. Like, I'm like, well, tell me the time when you want me to schedule the appointment, because you don't have to be at work till 9. They can go to the doctor at 7. He opens that early. So like, let's figure it out, because if I'm constantly always the one having to take off or going to work late, that's messing up my leave and my stuff. And I'm not that it's a problem, but like you said, let's have a balance there. And he was never like, nothing against it, but at one point we were starting to get into those roles of me constantly doing that, and him not knowing like how to maneuver the doctor's appointments, or certain things. And I was like, yeah, you might want to, call the doctor, do that, or because I think what if something were to happen to me?
Right.
I would need for you to know how to
Right.
handle and do all those things. And so that didn't last long for like him to realize that. And he definitely is now like fully like, okay, we literally take turns doing the doctor's appointments. Next month or whatever, however they fall, you go to the next one. So that neither one of us are. And he has a very flexible work schedule. And a lot of days he gets to, of course he's home now, but even when we were in the buildings, he could pretty much go in at whenever he wanted to, as long as he got his job done.
Yeah.
Or he could work from home. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is, because that's, again, another part of self-care. And if you're doing everything and putting everything on your plate, that becomes stressful. And you look up, you 50 years old, and
Right.
the kids are out the house, and you're like, who am I? I hear people say that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that way. Like, I want to enjoy every part of my life, but also have my kids, and my husband, be a part of that.
Yes.
I think I bring that on myself because I hear all that great stuff, splitting stuff up. I have an issue. Like, I complain, but I also want to do everything. I know, like, when he's taking the kids to the doctors, he doesn't ask the right questions. Like, I'll come home and I'll say, oh, well, did you say this to the doctor? Did you ask this? And I just feel like I don't know how to, like, quite get past that. Even the cleaning, we clean different. Like, I just need to work on it because I'm also killing myself, trying to do everything. I have an issue, and I can admit that.
I'm right there with you, Lauren. Same.
Like, look, but even when he's
like,
even when he's going to the doctor's office, don't think that I'm texting. Like, don't
that causes an argument, because then that becomes like, well, then he's like, well, I don't want to do anything because you don't trust me, and I don't, but I do want you to. So it's like, I get on my own nerves. I'm telling you, this quarantine has us stacked up over here.
Yes.
I get it. I think, but for real, if they I think they will never say they appreciate it, but I know I've heard him say, wow, if you didn't remind me, or if you didn't say that, that wouldn't have gotten done.
Yeah.
I would take it upon myself to schedule, like, sometimes I do feel like I'm his secretary. Like, I would put stuff on the calendar and say, you have to do this. Remind yourself to go to the doctor. Like, I have to remind him.
Oh, gosh.
You need to go to the doctor. Like, you're getting older. You're not this athletic person you were whenever you were that. You're not. So, like, you are changing. You need to go to the doctor to make sure everything is okay. And, like, do I need to call them and schedule it? Because I will. And I've done that before.
Girl, that's an issue we are currently battling right now. I keep telling him, I keep asking him, did you schedule your appointment yet? Did you schedule your appointment? No, I don't have time. But wait, you have time to do X, Y, Z, but you're not making time to go get yourself checked out. And like you said, Miriam, hey, we're getting older now. I mean, we're not, and even though, he works out every day, hey, you still need to get yourself checked out. Make sure all is well. So, but I don't know.
That's a struggle in itself. And I think it's it's a mentality shift right there of making sure it's because you may feel a certain way doesn't mean,
right.
Checks off right. Checks
out. Yep.
That's serious.
Yeah.
I know our conversation went from like
right. We got on the men train.
Work to ourselves, back to like people driving us crazy, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But I mean, it sounds like we are all understanding of how to take care of ourselves. And yes, we are parents, so to speak, to our kids through the virtual, because that's how we were in brick and mortar, and we were everything else, but we also our own families, we have our own families to worry about. But it sounds like we are like doing what we can do to get through.
Yeah.
And I've taken notes from you all. Like,
Yeah.
I never tried to sing a whole song through. Honestly, I don't know if I know all the lyrics to an entire song. I think I do. I'm gonna try that. Today I listened to a podcast in the shower. I had enough time to listen to Jalil White's podcast. Just something that was very basic, nothing to really think about. Just, had time to do that, wash my hair, all of that. Nobody was up yet. And then somebody bust through the door. But
Let that cold air in.
like that, girl.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having us.
Do this again, because I'm sure I'll be being asked, to maybe do another one. And so I hope, the topic, of course, will be different, but I hope that you all will come back.
Yes.
In our girl chat. I had so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody.
Good to see you. Yes.
All right, girl.